Hey everybody, Jim with Pash Fitness, and here with the next part of this series about kids in sports. And I just wanted to share with you the difference between a bunch of different levels. Now, in soccer, which is again the sport that I'm most familiar with, um, there are a variety of levels, but I know these levels kind of exist in different sports as well. I know that in hockey there's basic, and then there's like a elite. Volleyball has that. I've seen that myself. I've seen that also with baseball. So I'm sure there's other sports as well that have these kind of different levels where you can just go play for recreational purposes or for more advanced, all the way to the elites and the developmental programs. So I'm going to speak about soccer specifically, but translate that to whichever sport means the most to you and for your children. So we start at the house level or the recreational level, which is basically the town league where all the kids sign up, pay the small registration fee, and then they play with people that live in the same area. And it's just mostly for fun. Sometimes they don't even keep scores, that sort of thing. And then we go to the next level, and here in New York, we have what's called travel leagues. Now, in the travel leagues, you pay a little bit more money. The commitment of the players and the families is a little bit more, and it's a little bit more competitive. And there are tryouts now at this point where some people unfortunately get cut. From there, and usually the games in that situation are not just in your own little town, but the surrounding towns as well of the overall, the city and then the suburbs around it, and maybe an occasional travel here and there to very close places. But beyond that, we go into what's called more of the premier club level of soccer. And here's where things really change drastically. Now we're talking about a lot more money in particular. So you have things where people are now paying, instead of like a couple $100 to do travel, people are now paying over 1,000, 2,000, more than that in some cases, to have their kids train in this program. And theoretically, they're getting more instruction by more talented or certified coaches. Not always the case. And they're learning more, and usually it's throughout a longer period of time, so more than just their regular season. So if here in New York soccer is in the fall, typically, this premier club might have things in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring for the players. So it's more money, but you're hopefully getting more value for what you're paying. And in those situations, you're traveling as well. Typically, you're traveling to the region. So here in the Northeast, you could be going from here in New York, we could be going to Massachusetts, all the way down to Maryland or further. So the commitment is definitely there. The expectations of the coaches and the clubs is high, but so is the expectations of the parents, right? So they're expecting that their child's going to go get all this instruction and elevate their level of play, and they're going to go to college and potentially get a scholarship. But sometimes there's also these elite programs where you do pay all that money. They don't have as great a turnout as expected, and the teams don't have that elite level of player, where basically what happens is it's just a glorified house or a travel league team, but with a lot more expense for the families. Is it worth it? That's going to be up to you to decide. But based on what I've seen, if your purpose is to join those Premier League clubs to get that scholarship, that coveted college scholarship, then the numbers just don't pan out that way. If you say we had 100 players in that program, maybe one, maybe two would get a potential Division I scholarship, and I'm just making that number up, but we can go, and I will put in a link to more concrete statistics. But I think we're all practical, and we all kind of know that it's just not likely. If you're putting your children into those with the pure goal of getting a professional gig or a Division I scholarship, that may not be the best emphasis, the best goal. So keep that in mind for yourselves as well. Now, there's even more than that, because after the premieres, we actually have development academies here in soccer world where the participants are actually, they try out, they pay even more money, they commit a lot of time and energy, but in recent times, we've even seen that players are not permitted to play any other club, not play soccer or that sport that they're in the development academy for with anyone else, including their school. So that's a big call for a player or a family to have to make on whether or not to make that commitment. So as you can see, there's a large variety of levels. There's a monetary commitment, there's a time commitment, because those other things can go the whole year round. So there's a lot to think about, a lot of decisions to make, and I believe the best way to start is to kind of see where your child's at and see what their commitment level is and their passion to that sport is, and let that kind of guide you, and then you guys can discuss it together. So I hope this was helpful for you, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. And remember, at Pash Fitness, we build you first so you can be more for those that you want to be there for. Thanks.